is a Cosmic Octave original podcast.
Me and Jake running down the street with a handful of comic books, kicking ass and banging chicks and drinking booze
No, not
and
me.
smoking
Not
weed.
me. I'm
Oh,
married.
Yeah, well,
I'm married.
Jake.
Can't do that.
Yeah. Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler. Yeah. It's time.
Oh, I did it before the beep. Oh, I'm going to slide it over. They're never going to know. Welcome to episode 190.
What were we just talking?
Off panel, off topic. That's the name of the show. I'm Jake.
I'm Tyler.
And,
Welcome to another episode.
wow. First time in a long time, we're doing a movie review.
We went and saw a movie in the theater, Jake.
I have not seen a movie.
When was the last time we saw
And
Deadpool and Wolverine? Last summer?
No. The last time I was in the theater
Oh.
was for Venom: The Last Dance.
I did not go see that. Yeah, I think the last time
You didn't miss
were
anything.
was Deadpool and Wolverine, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So this is the first time since Marvel's that we've had an actual legitimate MCU movie. And again, don't get me wrong, Deadpool and Wolverine.
It's an MCU movie, but
Sure, yes, but it's
more
not,
a Fox movie.
It doesn't further anything of the story in the MCU, really.
And it's closing
Not
out
really.
the Fox stuff.
Yeah,
and
which is
setting
fine.
them up for the future.
It is what it is, and it's still a great fucking movie. So whatever. So yeah, we went and saw Captain America: Brave New World. So it is going to be.
Cooper.
It is an MCU movie, and you know, so I kind of went. I don't know about you, but I kind of went. Let's do expectations real quick. I kind of went into it. I had read a review, spoiler-free review,
This
and it
is
was
pizza time.
not yet. No, let's do
This will be spoilers.
right.
Fuck that. You know how long we've been talking about the movie at this point?
Fine, but I'd like to do our first
Sure,
expectations
absolutely.
and then go spoilers. God,
I'm just letting people know.
I just want you to know that we're fucking dicks right off the bat.
We're going to spoil.
We don't want to let you know, and then
So anyway, yeah, spoiler-free expectations. Spoiler-free thoughts. Yes, continue. I'm
So
sorry. I've
rude.
derailed the show.
just out of control. We're
Do you want to go first?
I went into it knowing a couple things because I read a spoiler-free review, and I think I already knew maybe that it had to do with the Celestial, but it was confirmed.
They talked about it in the press.
Talked about the reshoots. Talked about how some of the fight scenes with Ruth Bat-Saraf, how they were kind of funny because she was so small and she was beating the shit out of these really huge guys. Which she's a widow. She's a former Black Widow. So
Wasn't there an IDF character, or there was something with someone being an IDF person? That's why they gave her the Israel background.
IDF.
Yeah, there was a big controversy that there was a character that was like a part of the IDF,
What's the IDF?
Israeli Defense Force or something like that. I think is the name
Oh,
of
I
it.
thought that was called the.
Well, regardless, there was I could have swore I saw some rumors, or some there was a character that was cut that had ties to like the Israeli government, which I think maybe they transferred over to her.
I've heard that. I don't know anything about a cut character. I do know that there've been some calls for boycotts because of an Israeli character in the movie. Folks, I gotta tell you, if that's what you're boycotting shit over, you're fucking reading the wrong news, dude. I mean, what the fuck? You should be boycotting the fucking United States, for Christ's sakes.
Hey, look, it's good to have principles, and it's
Sure.
good to but at the same time, if we're gonna hold everybody to the same standards, we never would watch anything,
Right.
because all these corporations are evil.
Getting back to first expectations, you're right. But yeah, I didn't expect the world to fucking break open and like the secrets of the universe to spill out by any means. I was hoping for a good movie. I was hoping the Red Hulk would turn out cool. Previews made him look pretty cool. I was hoping that the leader would turn out pretty cool. We'll get to that.
We were
No comment right now. We'll get to it. But sorry, that is a spoiler. Fuck. But
no, it isn't. We knew he was in it.
yeah, we did. Whatever.
Well, yeah, it's a spoiler to people that maybe don't read comic books or know what they're.
Point
yeah,
is that
sure.
they did a little. The review that I read says it's a little bit. There's a little bit of continuity cleanup here.
Oh, 100%, and we'll talk about that.
And
But
we'll
let
talk
me
about it.
just
Yes,
get,
but
let me get to my fucking thoughts.
I knew those things going in.
So
I
we can
knew
just spoil it.
I knew it wasn't going to be crazy
Yeah.
fucking good. I was entertained. I had a good time.
Yeah, we talked about it with
Yeah.
my wife before we started recording, and she was just kind of talking about. She heard it's like it wasn't advertised. Some people were saying it wasn't advertised as political, and it's political. And I gotta say, this is the most baseline MCU and Disney will ever fucking do on politics, and that's what they've always done in the MCU. So if you think this movie is political, I think that's. And
That's
yeah,
kind
it
of
is.
on you.
Yeah, it is. It's political because it involves the president of the United States.
Yeah.
But yeah. Other than that, and the fact that like him and Captain America don't agree on something, that's it. There's no like.
Well-
there's nobody saying like you. Yeah, we'll get to that. But stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
You're right,
Stop.
that's
because
right, yeah.
we got to get through this shit so we can get to the spoilers.
Why
damn
are you
it.
so mad?
Because I have to keep cutting you off and cutting each other
Just go,
off because
fine.
then we're gonna start spoiling.
I'll spoil you.
So, but anyway, what I said to her was, I think a lot of people are probably, and I think this has always been the problem post Endgame. I think a lot of people, and it's partially Marvel's fault too. I think there's been too much expectation put on everything released since then.
Mm.
And I think everything has to be genre defining and face melting and brain opening of
You
like
gotta-
how
you
we
gotta
can
have a
expand the genre in
End
different
credit
ways.
scene that fucking blows my fucking mind and fan service all over.
And I think there is I think there is some sort of level to be like, look, I don't want to see this because I've seen so many superhero movies and blah 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 blah. I understand that, and if you feel that way, then yeah, this isn't going to change your mind.
No.
Because this is very much a Marvel movie and a very much a superhero movie, and like you're saying, it is to use a comic book term, it is a reset in the status quo.
Yeah. The last couple movies we had Captain Marvel, The Marvels, which was like the last like MCU movie. Deadpool and Wolverine again was more about the end of Fox, the Fox
And
universe.
bringing
right.
them over.
And again, still a great movie and still necessary to be like, hey, this is what's happening now. But this is I expected something. Do you remember the original? What? Do you remember the original Captain Marvel? I kind of expected it to be about like kind of Captain Marvel, the first one. You know, we already know about Doomsday. Fantastic Four is coming up later in the summer. Thunderbolts is coming out in a little while.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, I'm not saying that Brave New World doesn't have important parts to the MCU in it that further the overall story of the MCU, but yeah, it was. I give it a B+.
I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. I think in many ways, yes, it's cleaning up everything and trying to keep everybody up to speed with all the Disney Plus shit. And I knew this was going to happen.
Do you have the pizza time thing?
No, I don't have it pulled up.
Motherfucker.
Dude, I can't. I'm fucking
Have we sworn yet?
We've been swearing a lot.
Oh. Wow.
Well, I'm over this stupid shit. And there's something I should have. It's not related, and we'll talk about it off the air. Not related to anything. It's equipment based, and something I should have fixed months ago.
Yeah, but I still love you.
I know. We're all trying.
We're all trying to do. Let's go fucking pizza time up in this.
All right. Well, then
motherfucker
I'll
here,
whip it
man.
out.
Let me whip it out.
Oh, we were supposed to have a cold open, you dick. I'll put it at later. in
You are the
episode.
one who started the thing. Yeah.
We'll talk about it later.
You started the.
Hey, put a pin in it.
Okay.
We'll talk about it at the end of the episode. No, I'm just saying
Wasn't
for later.
there something
let me
during the
forget.
movie that we wanted to do the what for?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What was it? Was it?
Well, before we even get to the movie,
Of course.
we're in spoiler territory now.
Fuck
So
yeah.
let's, but
Just
but
know
even
it.
though we're in the spoiler territory, I want to talk about the theater experience because we try and talk about it as much as we can. First of all, I will say this for until the day I die.
Yeah.
Even when they're probably going to beam these movies into my brain, and I won't even have to leave my house.
Oh.
First of all, there's too many goddamn trailers. Okay? Especially when I've seen a lot of these trailers on YouTube. The ones that I want to watch. And then there's like 4 or 5 trailers I don't give a shit about. I'm sorry. I liked the How to Train Your Dragon movies. I thought they were good.
Yeah.
Why we Look, this is what I was saying. This is why we fucked up when we supported
Give
Disney.
us a little bit.
When we supported Disney doing
Give
this
us
shit.
a little bit.
Because you know what?
Yeah.
Get ready. In
Yep.
5 years when we get Shrek live action and fucking Despicable Me live action
So it's
and
how
Minions
to,
live
so it's
action.
how to treat your so it's how to treat your dragon. So it's how to
treat your dragon rat.
so it's how to train your dragon live action like the Jungle Book and
Yeah. Like
Really?
it's like that. It started as a book, then it became an animated movie.
No, I'm
and
saying like there's the trend of like the Little Mermaid and like you
the
know whatever.
dragons don't talk, if that's what you're asking. They don't sing.
No,
They don't
not at
dance.
all. That's not. Never mind.
I
The
don't know what
point
you mean.
is, it's unnecessary.
Sure.
I wanted to ask you. You've seen the movies. Was there anything in the trailer that you saw that wasn't in the original animated movie?
Nothing to make me
So
go,
why are you wasting our fucking money, you sons of bitches?
It has been.
I paid $20.
Time out. It has been
Okay.
a long time since I've seen that movie. So
It's been what?
it's been a long time since I've seen, especially the first movie. So
The point is,
I know what you mean. Point is this. Also, we're not talking about that.
are we mad that Gerard Butler
the
doesn't
theater
get work
experience
anymore?
itself, the trailers or whatever, I bitch about them every time.
Yeah.
But I was going up to these this theater we were at had
Oh
a
yeah.
Coke machine, but it was this touchscreen one, so you can have all those weird, crazy flavors. I usually just I'm pretty basic. I usually just
You
get
can get like 8 different flavors of Coke.
I just get a large Fanta.
All I
orange.
want is the shit that just gets me sky high. Okay.
I usually just get the orange or like a Code Red. I'm pretty basic. It's obviously a Coke machine, so I'm getting a Fanta in my system. But anyway, I go to do it, and then a guy separately to the machine next to me, he is telling his friend, "Hey, dude, if you put the cherry, the grape, and the strawberry Fanta together, it is fire." I overhear it and I say, "Wait, what did you say?" Because I have Fanta pulled up, and I'm like, I'm feeling frisky, and we're about to see Captain America. It's a brave new world of flavors.
Brave New Soda.
You're welcome. Anyway, Fanta, it's the red, white, and blue flavor. So I go, okay, wait, what did you say? Cherry, grape, strawberry. He goes, I'm like, I'm trusting you on this. He's like, trust me, dude, just trust me. So I'm like, all right.
So funny.
Do the mixture, and then funny enough, and they left before the end credits, rookies, and I was gonna mention the guy when we left, being like, dude, great recommendation, because they sat in the same row we did, like at the end of the aisle.
Can I just say, they missed the end credit scene? Really? Did they miss it?
They didn't really miss much.
They didn't miss jack shit.
So, Captain America: Brave New World. First of all, I'm not gonna. Now we're in spoiler territory.
And you know what? I am really tired of Maria Menounos.
I think I would be better off if I did. I think the reason I get so angry about these trailers is because
Maria Menounos.
the audacity of that last fucking Coke ad to be like, this is an ad break. And you laughed out loud in the theater because I just went,
Oh, there's many, like, watching the trailers with us has got to
by
be
the
comedy.
way, do you hate commercials? Do you hate trailers?
Mhm.
I'm going to get political for a second
Wow.
on this show.
Whoa.
Blame
We've
Trump.
never done that.
Blame Trump. Because it costs so much for all this shit. That's why we have 20 million fucking trailers and 20 million fucking ads in the movie theater before a movie gets played because of that fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything's so expensive.
Yeah.
Just want to say that. Also, that's why your ticket is what? Like, we're
It's
lucky
$9.
because of where we live.
Yeah.
But if we lived somewhere else, like
Like
New
a big
York or
city.
Chicago, yeah, the way they're spending $20 a time, one ticket, one person. That's $40 for two
I can't
people.
remember like what the ticket prices were in Iowa and then what they were in Denver. You know what I mean? Because like I'm just saying like
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was like if that was. I'm sure Denver now is a big difference.
The movie itself,
Chicago would be like a big difference.
I really enjoyed. I think I had pretty minimal expectations. I knew that it was
Me too.
what I thought coming in is exactly what I got.
Yep.
Which was okay. This is going to be like a political spy thriller, like Winter Soldier, because that's what Mackie was saying in interviews,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool. I love it when Captain America does that shit. Everybody talks about how great the Winter Soldier is, and it's because it's a
Go back to what doesn't fucking
it's what Cap is always supposed to do. Which, by the way, we were talking about all the flack that he got before this movie came out. It's like, how can you look at this movie and think it's any different at all from Chris Evans' movies? It's the same in a sense of his Cap was always fighting the government.
Yeah.
He fought the government in the second movie because of everything with the whole winter with Bucky and the Winter Soldier program.
He fought the government in the third movie.
Civil War, he fought half his team because of the government. And because he's always been fighting the government. So and Sam is so much in line with what Steve is saying, where he is saying hey, I don't know, if we can work together, but what happens if we disagree? Mm-hmm. And Isaiah, who I love that they kept him and brought him over from the show. This dude, I don't have his name in front of me, but he fucking murders this role. He is so good in this role. I look at your face because of the context of the film. You're like, what? But the scene when they're talking, and we're gonna jump around. The scene when they're talking in the prison is heartbreaking, and you feel it because he's such a good actor.
The camera work in this was really, really good.
I thought it was interesting.
There were a lot of, I'll say this, the very first fight scene that he does, I think it's in South America or Mexico. They're trying to retrieve the adamantium. Spoiler, that's what's inside the Celestial. So, and I just grabbed Jake's arm oh my God, can you believe it?
I don't know if it was you or me, but I feel like there was conversations that's what that was leading towards.
Between you and me or just in general?
I don't know if you and I predict. I'm not saying we did. I don't know if we did or not. But I think you and I talked about maybe that was a way that they brought adamantium into the MCU.
We talked about how the guy who did the work on Bullseye at the end of season 3 was the proper name of Lord Darkwind, who is the guy who invents the process to bond adamantium to skeletons.
Okay.
So
He's
we
the one
know
who kicks off Weapon X.
We know that if we're bringing Bullseye back into the MCU with Born Again, then we're probably bringing Lord Darkwind in. Then we're probably bringing in
with Weapon X and Wolverine and all that.
Maybe we're just starting from scratch.
I don't know. But yeah, and this absolutely does reset the status quo. And I think one of my criticisms of the movie is not necessarily the fault.
I don't have too many.
I do have a few in a sense of oh my gosh, we are lore dumping. We are just going hey, for those, let's take a minute. For the people that didn't watch Disney Plus, this happened and this happened and this happened and this happened. Of course, they don't say it like that. They talk about it in the dialogue. But for
when
you
when we first see Isaiah Bradley in the movie at all,
there's no explanation.
No, I'm saying that's exactly what you're saying. It was so awkward because Joaquin was oh, da-da-da-da-da, and then they were well, no, this is da, and he was this is what happened, and it was so awkward. It was such an awkward, Joaquin's there to train with him.
That is, to me, I think that is when the script is the weakest, is when it relies on that MCU trope of a fucking fanboy or girl that is just super fucking into these characters. And I'm not saying they don't exist. We exist. This podcast exists. Yes, there is that fandom, but it's such a lazy way to put in exposition to be no, well, this character knows everything about every fucking Captain America, even the forgotten Captain America, because he works in the government. There's
a point where Bucky shows up to help, kind of reset Sam's, state of mind and stuff.
It's the end of the second act, big you're a hero. Third act fight.
Hang on. To me, it was a really wonderful scene. And then at the end, happens in so many fucking MCU movies, they joked around. Did you like that one? Did your speechwriter write that one? Yeah, was it you? You can't just fucking have two guys sharing a moment together.
Yeah.
You have to fucking put a joke in there and be we're not gay. It's not
because he says I
love
you later.
No, it's not that. But I'm saying I think that's where that comes from. Is well, you can't have a moment between two guys that's just genuinely intimate and tender. Intimacy and tenderness do not necessarily mean sex.
It's an issue that I think exists in a sense of there is that joke where it's the MCU of well, that just happened.
Yeah.
That dialogue,
the little side. Yeah.
There is that kind of humor in these movies, but The most egregious example of it was what I saw in that fucking Jurassic World trailer, and I said to you, I go, nobody talks like that. When he like says all these things that's bad, and she goes, none of those things you said are good. Nobody fucking talks like that. What she should say, like a normal person, depending on your rating, would be, oh, so we're fucked, or oh, so we're screwed.
Or why are we here?
Instead of, well, none of those things are good. Like, it's that problem with dialogue that frustrates me, and I understand where you're coming from. And then the other part where, like, I get it, we have to get people up to speed. I fucking read comic books. I understand you have to have a title page with paragraphs of backstory to catch people up. I understand that. But sometimes, like, there are examples in this movie of good ways of weaving that in. And then there's some times where it's like, dude, I'm sorry, but, like, I'm supposed to believe that, like, to get to the next point, we have to be like, oh, well, oh, no, yeah, I know about you. This, and then it's just like, oh, God.
Wait, one more time?
And it's Marvel's own fault because they've spread their universe so fucking wide that now you have to take at least 2 or 3 segments of dialogue because you have to think, Tyler, listen to me. Let me get you this. Because I want to explain to you why they have to do so much heavy lifting in their dialogue.
I'm here, buddy.
Because this is what the MCU...
You know what? Hey, I'm here, buddy.
Because this is what the MCU did. This isn't just a Captain America sequel. This is the 4th Captain America sequel. However, it's a reset, right? Because now it's a legacy sequel. Okay? Keep going with me. It's also a sequel to a Incredible Hulk movie from 2008 that was like it's still in the MCU, but it's like pre-MCU, right?
To give you an idea, the end credit scene with William Hurt and Robert Downey Jr. was added after Iron Man.
Yes.
And Incredible Hulk came out first.
No.
Yeah.
No.
What?
Iron Man still came out first.
No.
No. Because Hulk came out in like June and Iron Man came out in May, I think, or something like that. Like they were pretty close. But they were like
whatever.
Point is this: that like it was not planned.
Yeah.
Initially.
Yeah.
So it's
in the MCU.
It's a sequel to that.
Yeah.
So you have to build them up to speed on what happened in that movie.
Because there were a couple loose ends.
That movie that happened 16 years ago.
Yeah.
You got to keep up to speed on that, and then you have to also remind them that hey. This is Harrison Ford, but he's playing a character, William Hurt, who was Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. Do you remember him? He was in Captain America Civil War.
Do you remember this scene from The Incredible Hulk in 2008 when William Hurt lost his mind on national television? Well, we're going to recreate it with Harrison Ford.
Yeah. And then, so then you're asking them to get along with that, and you understand that. Then you got to also take in the backstory of what Sam had to go through to become Captain America, which is going to be averted in this movie because you did it in the show that was on Disney+. So you have to do that by introducing Isaiah Bradley, keeping him a part of it to tie both those loose ends together. You with me? You still with me? So this is what I mean. It gets a little frustrating when we're in this situation where there's been so much content and so much bloat that you have to dedicate dialogue. And I feel like the story doesn't suffer. And again, there are examples, and for the most part, I will say, I think they do a good job weaving in the leader and weaving in Ross and that storyline. But it just begs the question, like, why was that in a Captain America movie?
Yeah.
What?
As far as I know, the whole thing with Universal is over, so they can make a Hulk movie now.
But I will say this.
Right?
That being said, it still works. And it still makes sense that it's a Captain America movie because very similar to Civil War, where you're like, why is this a Captain America movie? All these other characters in it. It's still focused on Sam's struggle with Ross and still dealing with unresolved feelings between them two. It's like, dude, why should I work with you? You fucking locked me up. You threw me in jail because I chose to help Captain America. Like, you clearly don't like superheroes. You don't like us.
Let's talk about the villains. Let's talk about I think Harrison Ford did a really great job.
Great job.
Loved
him as Ross.
I think
made him very sympathetic.
Giancarlo Esposito was great, like he is in everything, but
underutilized. And stop typecasting this guy.
If you're not gonna give him like any sort of like thing, you know, like the Sidewinder from the comics, like he can teleport or something, he's just a dude who's ruthless. Oh wow, we've never seen that before. You know what I mean? Like that's not fair to him. He better come back, and you better do more with him. That's all I'm saying. The big guy that came out and started beating on Cap in the airplane, I was hoping that he turns out to be like a dude named like Puff Adder, because he's in the comics. He's a Serpent Society guy, and he's just a big dude.
Was it just me?
But he had those hooks.
Or was that
snake-like hooks that he took his... I was hoping it was like, oh, here's another member of the Serpent Society, and his nickname is Puff Adder or something.
Was it just me, or was that opening fight mixed weird? Like, the audio was off.
Yeah. Well, again,
it could have been
the first
theater,
fight scene was just off a little bit to me.
Sound and everything. Like, that looked like a reshoot. Like
a little bit.
That, if I were to say if anything in this movie looked like an extensive reshoot, it was that, because
you're gonna hear me say some
sound
stuff.
was off.
I don't really give that much of a shit about that stuff. Like, not that much.
Every movie had.
I kind of liked Daredevil with Ben Affleck, so if that tells you anything. I mean, hey. No. So let's. Okay. So again, underutilized. Let's talk about.
Well, that's what I mean. Please, because clearly he's sequel bait. So he's clearly in this to be introduced, to give you a history, and then throw him in the next Mackie-led Captain America movie.
Yes,
and
which cool.
Fine.
I'm cool with that.
But please, for the love of God, turn him into a snake.
Do something. Yes.
Seriously, do something, because I am so sick and fucking tired of wasting this guy.
Yes.
He is so much better than a dude with a deep voice that's like evil. Like, he's so much better than this shit.
Yes.
Like, give him something and turn him into like a snake person or some shit like that. Or make it, I don't know, put some scales on his face.
Yes.
Do something.
Yes. I hear you.
That's
and
my
I
big
agree.
thing. He is clearly sequel bait, so we'll deal with Serpent Society at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I think Danny Ramirez does a good job. He plays the Falcon character in this.
Yes.
But it's just sort of like a Batman thing. It's like, dude, just because we have a Captain America, does that mean we need a Falcon? Like, why does he have a sidekick?
Right. It's almost like the Batman, Robin
it's
type
a Ward
thing.
thing.
Yes,
It's like you become Captain America, you get a Falcon.
I am looking up one thing, a couple things here. Seth Volker. Okay. I'm just looking up okay. So under the credits, Tim Blake Nelson is as Samuel Stearns. So
they don't call him the leader at all.
He never calls himself that, and he's never referred to as that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how fucking how vague and like just cookie cutter was that fucking end credit scene? When they're coming.
So I will say this. For the most part in this movie, I love the score. I love what they were trying to go to with the political intrigue and thriller. But you could say it was falling into that third act problem that Marvel movies do run into. And then it kind of switched up on me, because you had that big fight at which, by the way, holy shit. First of all, we're finally acknowledging the Celestial Island. And then we're literally having a fight, and they're like, okay, yeah, we figured we put bases in this head of this thing. There's so much technology.
Yeah.
We find adamantium.
Yeah.
So they're literally about to have a war on top of the Celestial over adamantium. And then the fact that, like, as that's happening, I looked at you, I'm like, that's such a fucking wild concept that you're finally kind of seeing it being addressed. Mm-hmm. But I love the idea that the political intrigue behind this whole thing is we're all fighting over this giant dead alien in the ocean because we want its resources.
Yeah.
And
I thought it was cool that they were like, okay, well, we set up like the country, it is what would happen. The nations of the world.
Yeah, Ross wants a treaty.
I want this
signed
piece. I want this piece. I want this piece.
To say, hey, we all own a piece of the Celestial.
Yeah,
Let's
so we can
not
all
try and
benefit.
Claim it. Yeah. And so, yeah, they're about to have this war. And so, like, they're having the thing where there's this really cool thing. They're like, okay, you want to talk about something new? This Captain America does something new. We're getting dog fights. Because I was thinking to myself,
that's pretty cool.
There has to be something with a dog fight because he can fly. That's something Steve couldn't do. So, really cool dog fight sequence. And then they do a really good bait and switch where he's starting to Hulk out. Like, Ross is starting to Hulk out in that sub, which I was like, that's horrifying.
Right. Well, I think he was on a destroyer. He wasn't in
or a destroyer, yeah. But anyway, he's
starting
to lose his shit.
They're at sea.
And you're like, oh, this is where the fight happens.
Right.
Because the only thing we saw in the things was like concrete. And concrete is on those
cherry blossoms.
And cherry. Well, I guess you could see that.
I saw cherry blossoms.
Fuck you. You only say that because you saw the movie.
No,
Yeah, I know, but my point is, you could say.
yes, I was like, I don't think that's happening here,
You
but
had no
I
reason
don't
to think
know.
there wouldn't be a fight.
Right.
So I was like, oh god. And then they switched it up and did something else. I'm like, oh, and I'm like, well, I know he's gonna Hulk out, but it's gonna be here. Okay. And then I remembered in the trailer when like he started to like pop up, it was in front of a podium. So I was like, ah. So
yes.
I will say, I like that they changed it up there, but it's like the fight was fine. The fight was entertaining, but I don't even know how you would do something new. Like we talk about like, oh, what is something
The
new?
fight between them and Captain America and
Yeah.
Red Hulk.
Yeah, I would argue this is new because this is the first time we've seen a normal person, not a super soldier,
Yes.
not a power suit. It's just him being like, oh yes, he's got the fucking vibranium.
And clearly he was just raged the fuck out, and he was just raging. He didn't give a fuck what
He
he was
destroyed
breaking.
everything.
Yeah, he didn't give a shit.
oh my god, the
about other
visual
people.
of the Red Hulk screaming on top of the White House as it was burning, I was like, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Because like, you gotta like when the movie.
Well, the chase scene through like the trees. I mean,
oh yeah, when he's ripping apart the trees and he's like flying between them.
Here's what I really enjoyed from the whole chase scene was that, like, he was flying on a straight, like, whatever, and Red Hulk was like flying because he had just jumped, and he would land like almost catching him, and he would just jump again, and by the time he almost landed, he was almost on top. Like, it was just crazy because he wasn't flying,
He was just gaining,
but
ground
he's
by
just
leaping.
gaining by jump,
Yeah.
and it was just crazy, and like. That was a lot of fun.
Best part was when he turned and they're like, "Oh, they're red now."
There were a lot of people, or there were a lot of scenes with Captain America, with Sam Wilson's interpretation with the wings and whatnot. I really like that he has like two costumes, the one that was in the beginning and then the one that he has at the end.
Did you know that?
But they used the wings in such a way that he was able to like incorporate that with the shield, and it was really, really neat.
Hot take. I would say he's more patriotic than Cap because he actually looks like a fucking eagle with his wings and shit.
You know what I really?
There, I said it.
You know
I said it.
You know what I really, really like is, and this is why I didn't really care for the humor, because I thought it was a great way to end the conversation. And Bucky was saying to him, he was like, Steve Rogers gave people something to believe in. You give them something to aspire to. And I'm like, that's exactly
great
what
line,
we
yeah.
need in this fucking world. You
Yeah.
know,
And
everybody believes in something.
And-
we need somebody to look up to in this world
And
right
he
now.
said Steve had had the same serum that I did and had other things, and people still die, And he's like, "You're a human doing the best you can." And then look, guys, I'm gonna say this, Kevin, listen, Kevin. Not every Marvel movie needs to have quips, bud. This movie worked better when it took itself seriously. And I know you're like, Jake, how could it take itself so seriously? It's got this dude with a weird head. And all that.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. I get that. And it's okay to have jokes here and there. But Sam is not jokey. Steve is not jokey. Sure, you can make his Falcon a little jokey. And I know that Sam has had jokes in the past. And he's, Anthony.
Oh, look, it's Jokey McJokerson.
And Anthony has incorporated himself in that character and like his style and whatever. But like, it's like it could even Anthony could be like, leave well enough alone. If you're having a real conversation and someone you care about says something really like hits you, you're gonna well up and just say thank you. And you're not gonna make a fucking joke. Some people might, but I'm just saying.
We've also heard that fucking joke in the MCU before.
Yeah.
Where somebody gives a heartfelt, and then what did you think? Was it rushed? Well, who was it? Was it fucking right? You know what I'm talking
We've
about.
seen that joke, yeah.
The point is,
As magnetic as they are together and as good as they are together, even I was like, okay, that could have cut right here and we would have been
yes. The point is, okay. So I do want to talk about I do want to mention one thing. I was talking about Puff Adder. Johannes Hakur Johannesson as Copperhead, a member of the Serpent Society. So fucking cool. That's neat. I like that. That is neat. But the
Timothy
leader,
Blake Nelson was great.
as a huge Hulk fan and a long time reader of the lore and everything and the leader and stuff, and knowing about him and what he's meant to, and all the incarnations. The first incarnation was basically a large four-headed dude in a yellow jumpsuit. Ha ha! I'm the leader. I am here to take everything.
Yeah.
And then like later on, he became skinnier and he just had kind of a big kind of brain kind of thing, but he was still green and he was just a dick. He was really, really smart, but he was just a dick. He didn't want to take over anything. He just wanted to fuck with Banner, right? And anyway, point is, I was really, really, really eager to see the leader. Is that right?
Whoa.
Eager to see the leader. Okay, so wrap it.
Shout out to MCU to make a villain that actually has clear motivations that make sense.
Yeah, and for finally bringing this fucking character back, honestly. And it looks like we might have him for a little while. Yeah, maybe we'll get a Hulk.
At some point,
maybe we'll get a Hulk movie.
they learn the lesson to stop killing villains.
Yeah, how about if you guys give us a Hulk, She-Hulk movie so you can actually spend the money for a reason?
And look, would this have been better if Banner were in it? I don't know, but
I don't think it was necessary. But
I just thought it was weird to just all of the villains that you could have pulled from for Captain America.
I wish he would have had a mustache. He's always had some sort of facial hair.
Now when he's Hulk.
I wish the
Now he's
leader.
Red Hulk.
I wish the leader would have had some sort of mustache.
Yeah.
Having said that, I think the MCU does a really good job of like, hey, here's Captain America's costume, and it's pretty flashy, right?
Yeah.
But also, here's a realistic depiction of somebody whose brain has been affected by gamma radiation, and the fact that he's had to kind of perform. It was implied pretty heavily around his lair, his lab at Camp Echo or whatever, that he had done surgery on himself. Like, you know what I mean? To like assuage whatever.
Well, yeah.
So I know that you can't have just so he resembles in physicality a lot more later incarnations of the leader. Having said that, I was kind of hoping he would have like a big old forehead.
I was wondering like how big they were gonna make.
Not gonna lie. But I think that's the best they could do, and I like that they kind of gave him a dead eye.
Yeah.
That was kind of neat. They took a while to reveal him, and then when they did, it was shocking enough that I was like, oh.
I love how they slow played his reveal.
Yes.
And kind of played with that, and always had him in shadow and always shrouded. I like that a lot. Yeah, Tim Blake Nelson was great.
He's great in everything.
Oh, he's always great.
It's just stud. Yeah,
I'm glad that he got he got another chance with this character.
Yeah,
I thought he was such a weird character in that original movie,
right?
And
because any Hulk fan knows who that is.
Yeah,
and they're like, oh, and then you never hear
him, and then 15, 16 years later they bring him back.
Dude, even 3 years later, you're like, what?
It's but again, as crazy it is to have two Hulk villains, traditionally Hulk villains, in a Captain America movie. It still works. It still makes sense, and I think that they had to make him the president, but it still makes a lot of sense. And it I think it does a good enough job of taking the comic book silliness of it and still making it work, and saying, oh well, every time you have a moment of sympathy for Ross, he continues to, like, I had to remember because of how good of an actor and how charismatic Harrison Ford is. You have to remind yourself, like, no, Ross is a fucking shithead. And then when he meets him in the bunker and says, you're not Steve Rogers, that was me being like, all right, know what? Fuck this guy. Fuck this guy.
I'm not standing you no more, bro.
One thing happened, and he's just like, nope, change my mind. Fuck him. And then you hear later that he was the one pumping Steven full of radiation and turning him into that. And then you're like, well, fuck this guy. And then I was the one who called it a million miles away when he pulled out Thaddeus Ross and the pills and go, they're the Hulk pills. I know that sounds silly. He was taking medication for what he thought was heart medication.
Are you saying that like you, unlike anybody else in the theater, was like, oh, did you see those pills that he just took conspicuously in front of us? Those are Hulk pills.
It started there, but then like
I'm just saying, did you?
No, yeah, I picked it up as soon as he was taking. As soon as he was taking pills, not out of a pill bottle, I'm like, well, those are Hulk pills. Like, I
just like how you're like, I don't know if anybody else noticed, but
this obvious thing.
No, it's good.
No, because you and I both were like Hulk pills. That's what we said. Because you and I both called it a million miles away.
I wish they would have been red. Make it a little more obvious.
Yeah.
Hey, he's taking red pills.
And again, it sounds silly on paper, but let's be honest, that's what they are. They're Hulk pills.
Overall, like again,
he
B
thinks
plus.
they're heart medication.
Oh, one last thing. Ruth Botsaroff, what in the MCU or in the Marvel comics, she's actually a mutant named Sabra, who is an Israeli mutant. I don't believe that they are using that iteration of the character.
I don't think so either. I think they were
She's an
originally.
old widow.
then-
She's an old black widow, so she's just really a badass.
'cause of the-
I don't know if she's ever even going to show up again because, to be really honest, I didn't really need the character.
yeah, she was kind of.
She didn't really add or take away. Like
You want to talk about too many cooks? You could have probably taken her out. Well, no. You needed a character to run opposition to
Sure,
Cap
sure.
while Ross was doing other shit.
and furthering that, in no way am I saying that the actress did a bad job.
No, she was
did a
fine.
great job,
Yeah.
and in no way am I saying that. Well, she should have lost that job. You know, like, you know what I mean? Like, we just didn't need that character. See you later, actress. You know, like, I'm glad
Well-
when people like that could be a springboard for her. You don't know.
At the end of the day, when you look at this, there are a lot of characters in the
But
movie.
I
and I'm
think it's a lot of the MCU tends to do this where they're like, hey, this is who this person is playing, and fucking nerds around the world like me are like, ooh, that's the real name of this character? Oh, you know, we're freaking out, right?
just ropes.
Just boosh, doosh, just just boosh, boo, load after load. And what it really comes down to is the MCU is like, no.
The audacity to
No.
continue your
That's just
sentence
not. That's
after
just not.
saying that.
That's just not that character. It's the name of a character. And here's the fun thing about this is that back in the Incredible Hulk in 2008, right?
Yeah.
When they were like, ooh, Samuel Stearns. And everybody was like, oh, just load after load.
Yeah.
And then we don't see anything for 16 years,
What
right?
what comic book shops are you going to?
I'm sure they
you
would.
have to walk in with a hazmat suit on all the chisel. You're gonna slip and slide.
I'm sure they wouldn't want me to recommend them on the air.
Sir, get out of this store.
Get out. Why are you doing that
Every time he opens
every fucking time?
every time he opens a book. Followed by that laugh and then that
Whatever.
laugh.
Thank you very much. Thanks for telling me that my laugh is creepy, you jerk.
No, because did you hear mine afterwards?
Oh. I
You
hate
sound like
you.
a damn
I
bird.
hate you.
So overall,
you sound like a
I'm
damn bird.
if we were gonna letter grade it like A to F, I would agree with you. Solid B, or I would maybe go a little bit lower, maybe a B. The thing that brings me down the most is, like I understand that it has to be a status quo reset and kind of get everything on track towards Doomsday and Secret Wars and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it frustrates me when a story gets a little bit compromised.
Yeah.
Because of all of the narrative heavy lifting they have to do
Yes.
to get to the place they need to be. And
It was briskly paced.
it was 2 hours, a fun movie,
Didn't notice it.
does enough to remind you of things that you probably would have forgotten, and it does a good enough job, I think, of explaining things to bring in people that maybe didn't watch the Disney Plus shows and just wanted to see this. But yeah, dang, like there are some things that slow this movie down. I think
There's some formulaic shit. Like, hey,
that
here's-
opening sequence was weird because I think it was like edited weird or something. I don't know.
Talking about the Thunderbolt Ross
I don't know if it was the theater
when
and
he
then
won the election.
no
'Cause
after
that's the opening.
no yeah after the cold open. It's when he's fighting
What I was gonna say
before he meets Sidewinder. I want to get there.
Yeah, I gotcha.
It could be the theater, but there was something off about that scene.
Maybe.
Like it's noise or like I don't know.
There was formulaic stuff in it.
was
You know,
mixed
like,
weird.
hey, here's the setup for the story, and then
Yes.
here's the hero doing a relatively innocuous mission.
Random road trip.
Here's a
Remember
way.
that?
Here's a way to showcase his, skills. And in case you didn't know, he can do this with his wings and with his shield. And he's
It's
all,
like it's
yeah.
like and I will say,
And then let's get into the meat of the story. On this rather innocuous mission that is here to showcase the, skills of the hero and the powers for you. Oh, we've found something that leads to something else, and then that's the story.
Again,
it's like, okay.
I think I said it earlier. It's the same when I talked about when we reviewed Moon Man and like things like that. If it is not,
every time you say Moon Man, I'm like, you mean Moon Knight?
it's not going to. Honestly, it's not going to change your mind. Like
No.
I said at the beginning of this, it's not going to change your mind on how you feel about superhero movies. And you're right, there
No.
are absolutely formulaic feelings to this.
Yes.
But I think when the movie hits, it hits pretty well. Like all the stuff with Isaiah and Sam is great. I like I can't even think of Falcon's name. I like Falcon in this.
His character's name is Joaquin something.
I did think it was like a little bit like, okay, guys, because you know how like they give certain ethnicities just like a certain characteristic, and like, of course he's from Miami. Of course he's like, you know what I mean? It's like
Fair, but
like there's
yeah.
just sometimes like, guys, there are other places where Hispanic people live, but that's just being nitpicky, dude. That's not a real gripe with the movie. I think he does a good enough job, but I did think it's a little weird that like, okay, now we're giving Captain America award with Falcon,
award.
who is also a grown man. That should just be like, why do I need to be your psychic?
I thought
But still,
not gonna lie,
Enjoyable
when
movie.
he got hurt in that battle, I honestly thought I was like, is there a Falcon who like turned into an adamantium Weapon X thing? Because I was kind of like, ooh, adamantium. Hey, he's hurt in the battle and he needs to be rebuilt. I don't know.
yeah. But the scene with him at the end, like him, those two in the hospital, when he kind of breaks down to him a little and just says like, yeah, dude, I don't think like I have that fear that I'm not enough and I have to carry so many people that try to get to this table. Like there's so many people and I have to carry that weight. And then he has that. This is an example of what you should have done with Bucky, where he leans forward and tells him how to properly dodge. And he goes like, hey, you need to do this and this will help you. And that was great. And it was like there was a little joke afterwards of like, yeah, like that's fine. But to just be like, well, did your speechwriter write that for you? Like, why? Like you guys just gave me an example of how you could be funny and have an interaction, a genuine reaction with your friend. You know what I mean?
I really do think there are guys out there who like, I mean, they can't like just like have a moment. They have to say like, oh, fucking titties, like
and that's
sports,
and that's why it's weird.
Mets,
and that's why it's weird that Sam does it, because we know his character is capable of having like a legitimate,
and Bucky.
genuine moment with another man. Why does it always have to be jokey? Like, hey, don't make it. But yeah, I know what you mean. Like, it always has
they
to
just
be.
start making out. I mean,
Any-
what's wrong with that?
Anytime two male characters show vulnerability, there has to be a level of a jokiness to it to like for some reason.
In conclusion, I'd like to say, what a fucking cookie cutter nonsense of a end credit scene. Fucking tell me right away that it means nothing so I can fucking go take a piss.
First of all, no mid credit scene, which I thought was
no,
interesting.
fuck you guys.
Which have been wasted.
Give us
anyways.
a joke anyway, if something, right?
What do you mean?
Doing all the reshoots.
This will pay off eventually at some point.
Oh,
Can you? Okay.
20 years.
This is why I think Feige needs to follow James Gunn's method, and who knows? Maybe it'll blow up.
What's James Gunn?
Maybe this proclamation will blow up in my face. But James Gunn said nothing gets greenlit without a script.
Yes.
God, is that more evident that I don't think that rule ever applies at Marvel? Because I would not be surprised if that end credit scene doesn't mean dick in like 5 years.
Oh yeah. Well, because there's world.
It's the Vegas
there's-
shit.
Yes, there's world building and there's teasing and there's in development.
Let's spoil it for everybody. Here's what happens.
Oh.
Here's the whole end credit scene, so you don't
There's
have to
nothing to
hold-
reveal. There's nothing.
So you don't
Go
have to
ahead.
hold your piss.
Go ahead.
Go take that
There's
piss.
nothing to reveal.
Go home.
Yeah.
Get in your car and leave.
Yeah, fucking. There's nothing.
Because here's what happens. Shows back up at the raft. Captain
Yeah.
America shows up at the
He's
raft.
going to talk to the leader.
Goes to talk to him, and he says, "Hey, you think you put me in here? Well, you haven't even seen the calculations of what I've seen.
My probabilities that I've seen.
Who's coming? they're coming.
Yeah.
That's it. Is it the Fantastic Four? Is it the X-Men? Is it something
Not
else?
a fucking word. Just, hey, bleh, bleh.
What a shit ass waste of
Shit ass.
waste of time.
Fucking shit ass.
Because if you're gonna, because you and I have talked about this, and I said upstairs that
Either
this
give me something really funny and entertaining
before we
or
record
nothing.
that end credit scene for me really made me think about this because
I was so mad.
there's that long running theory that MCU aren't movies, it's TV, and you view it as TV, and it's
Right.
like each movie is just its own self-contained season that's a part of this running narrative, and I never felt that more than with this movie.
Mhm.
And especially with that end credits scene where it's like we have nothing to offer, but
Tune in next season.
we have made
Fuck
it.
you.
But we have made a habit of doing this, so we have trained our audience for it. So now we have to do something, and then what do? I don't know. You want to talk about reshoots?
It's a
This
vague-
was done.
Vague threat.
This also never been more evident that there was some shit that was not filmed on the same day than the Bucky and fucking Sam conversation. Look how it's blocked. They're not talking to each other at all.
They
Like
don't-
there are some scenes.
Well,
but
they do hug at one point.
You can tell. You know that's not true because Tom Holland kissed a fucking green screen person once. Did you know that?
They're not.
Yeah, look it up. But that's what I mean. Like the blocking in that scene was so obvious because you would get a look at it's a two shot, but you looking at Bucky perspective, but you're shot in a way that you can clearly tell it's a body double for Anthony Mackie.
Anyway.
And you've seen these tricks a million times.
Yeah.
But I laughed in my head because I'm like, that is the most obvious. They're not in the same room.
Speaking of that, before we take
Wrap
our
it up.
before we take our reading break, we did know that the Odyssey, what's his name?
Tom Holland.
No, the director,
Oh,
Christopher Nolan. Sorry, is doing the Odyssey, and it's filming the same time as Doomsday. So Tom Holland is in both movies, and he's concentrating on Odyssey. And they have pretty much said that a lot of his scenes are going to be filmed by a stunt double, and then he'll do the Peter Parker scenes when he can,
I mean,
which I think is an interesting way to show how our society's become.
well, and the funny thing is you know that's going to be some other person that's going to do all the work.
Look, it's
And then-
way better than when it was back in the
and then-
40s
no, but
when like actors
Tyler-
were owned by fucking studios. Okay,
Tyler,
way better than that.
do you blame him
Huh.
for not wanting to be there all the time? Because he's probably like, look, what scenes am
Oh
I?
yeah, ensemble movies are probably
When
shit
am I
for
on
big
screen?
actors.
When am I on screen? And then when do you need me to come in to do ADR? Because that's all he's gonna do. Like that's why Spider-Man is such an easy character for these actors to play because his face is covered. They don't gotta do shit. They just show up, maybe take it off, do a couple lines, do their thing.
Can you do a somersault? Well, doesn't Spider-Man
But
do like a bunch
I
of other?
agree,
Yeah,
Ty-
but
I-
we're gonna do a
I
stunt
agree.
double.
I agree, dude.
All
It's-
you need to do is a somersault.
you know what really melted my
Can
brain?
you do a handstand?
So what you're saying about Tom Holland doing that isn't that crazy to me
No.
because what melted my brain was how much I watched, or I got like behind the scenes pictures or footage of the Avengers movies, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and you see how much of that shit is fake, and you
Oh,
see
yeah.
like how little they're actually there and in the costume. But shit, when Tom Holland was doing Endgame, he was covered in mocap because it was the fake Iron Man
Look,
shit.
here's what I'll say: is that those movies, all of these movies that we see, I have no desire to see the behind the scenes. I have no desire to see what it looks like on the soundstage because I just don't. I don't at all. And here's why: they do a great job with editing and effects and sound design and whatnot. That it looks real to me. So fucking
Red Hulk looks
good
great.
job.
By the way, Red
Huh?
Hulk looks great. I really
Yeah.
liked his look. I love the fact that they like as
He's
technology
clearly- yeah.
as technology's progressed, you can tell that they like legitimately face scan and put the rig on and get their
He
actual.
looks like he's about as tall as the Hulk, but he's more lean than the Hulk, I would
yeah,
say.
he's not as thick.
Yeah. Muscular, but just not as,
Yeah.
beefy. He's not as beefy like a can of beef stew.
Also, the shot that
chunky
was in the
soup.
trailer of him throwing the shield was actually even better in this because of like how it ping, 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 and then he throws it.
And then also he's about to crush fucking
Or
Sam's head.
when he does the spin kick thing and it ricochets off the wall, takes the guy out, and then he catches it. Like, there's some cool
There's
shield
some
shit.
really cool stunt shit.
The first shot when he like, boom, sonic boom down, that was actually really cool.
yeah, and then you wait for it.
Yeah, the aftershock. All right, so we're about 55 minutes in.
Wow.
Yeah, we
Well, forget the
we
comic book.
sauced and tossed that episode.
Sauce
that
you up.
movie. Well,
Sauce you up.
yeah, I have in my hand Absolute Batman number 5,
Yeah.
but I think we've
Well, we're gonna take a break and then we'll decide.
We'll
and
think
if
about
not, we'll come back and tell you, hey, thanks anyway, and get the fuck out of here. But stay tuned.
You know what? In the words of Arnold,
What is this?
fuck you.
Hey,
I'm talking on my phone.
talking to my phone. Are we still
No,
recording?
we're gonna.
Are we still recording?
Stick around.
All right. All right.
All right, let's go to work.
Absolute Batman number 5.
Stop singing.
Yeah, that's right. We got a comic. We're doing a movie and a
Oh,
comic.
fucking what?
Yeah.
Okay. So we know that last issue was basically a filler issue. Talk about killing the fucking momentum, right?
Mm-hmm.
The story is at a linchpin moment. You're like, oh my God, let's give you a filler issue, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And we talked about how issue 1 through 3, it was 1, 2, and 3 of 5.
Yeah.
In issue number 4, it was simply part 4, the zoo. In this one, it's simply part 5, the zoo. I'm willing to bet that number 6 is part 6 of 6,
Yeah.
the zoo. Okay, because you had to put a filler. So I kind of can't forgive you for it, except for the fact this one. I know you're gonna be like, well, the other one, the other two involve an alien, civilization, and also like hell and like demons and shit. But this is the one. This book is the one that I have to suspend my disbelief most for. I know you're like, why? Because it's trying to be gritty and real, and it's so far off the mark. Look, I don't give a fuck what you're trying to do, Scott Snyder, but nobody's going to be able to murder that many people and shit and not, like, have the fucking National Guard come down on you. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't care what... The end of the book, and we'll get to that, but just enough of this shit, right? Enough of this fucking... Oh, these guys just go out and murder, like, 12 people on a night, and there's, like, 8 packs of them every night. Fucking, there's no people left in Gotham, because they're all
Yeah.
dead. You fucking... You gotta look ahead and start thinking about your numbers and go, this is unsustainable, okay? So, Scott, I gotta tell you, you are way over the fucking board with this shit, all right? I get you're trying to make a statement and a point, but you are doing it to the detriment of the story because all I can think about is how you can't fucking do math, bruh. So, having said that,
Wow.
look, because I don't care how you set it up on a giant fucking spotlight, you're not going to get those little edges and shit that make it look like a bat when it's actually shown in the sky. You're just going to get a big block of fucking black in the middle of the fucking thing, okay? So you got to suspend your disbelief for that. Who's lighting it on fire? Did you see anybody lighting it on fire? Or did he click
clicks a
something?
button.
He does?
He
Okay.
clicks the detonator.
Okay, all right. Well, great. Other than all that bullshit, I really like how he decided to answer the question of are you in or not with the black mask, Roman.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then here I have a problem. Bruce Wayne is not fucking RoboCop.
I was going to talk about this.
And there's a moment in RoboCop, I think you know where I'm going, where he can't kill or arrest Dick Jones.
Yeah.
So that's when like Ed 209 comes out and fucks him up, and then the cops fuck him up,
Yeah.
right? And he just keeps falling, right?
Yeah.
It seemed like that, didn't it? Because he goes to
Yeah.
a fucking parking garage. That's why. But no way anybody survives that. I don't care what kind of gadgets you have, okay? And then they show him later getting patched up, and he's got like Band-Aids all over himself and like a sling. And I'm like, you're dead. You are dead. You've been dead since
Internal
like
bleeding.
you've been dead. Yeah, you've been dead since they stabbed you the 6th time while you were under that net. You were dead before they even threw you off the building, dude. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with Scott Snyder not understanding that there is a level of violence that I cannot suspend my disbelief for because I'm too of the world, man. I know enough about real shit because I've read about it and whatnot that like real violence is really fucking like
you're not gonna get stabbed that many times and fall from that height.
You're
with a broken arm.
Yeah, first your arm's gonna get broken. You're going into shock right away. Boom, that's it. You're done. It doesn't matter if you get stabbed a bunch more times and how much blood they show him losing and shit. Like fuck off, dude.
And then
like
falling, even though his cape makes a parachute, he still lands on a car,
which looks flimsy. Yeah, and he breaks the car. Right? You get what I'm saying? Like other than that, like I like the story. I'm almost ready to forgive them for the filler issue. I'm not sure where they're going at the end of this, which is, oh, hey, let's see if we can get all of Gotham's citizens in on this. I don't know that the art at the end kind of gives me the idea that actual citizens are actually opening these boxes or not, because the art is not very clear.
It just shows you that Gordon has it.
We've apparently completely just written off his buddies, who are the villains of Gotham normally, and Selena Kyle's nowhere to be found. Yeah. You know, I mean... I didn't even know that. Was Barbara Gordon in the story before?
Yeah, briefly.
Okay, briefly. Like, but now she's like a big part of it.
Yeah,
like,
she had been sprinkled in here and there.
Scott, man, you.
Well, you know, this is the problem. So, you also, I think, this is the problem of understanding that, oh, yeah, this is going to be a monthly series. Because I think he has put those characters away and saves them for later shit.
Sure.
And he's like, okay, I got to wrap up this with Black Mask.
Right. Which he doesn't. He fails to do.
Fine. No, anyway. But fine. But like you're saying, here's the issue I have.
With the issue.
Like, very similar to my gripes with it are very similar to yours. In a sense that, yes, at a certain point, you have to question how many citizens are left.
Yeah.
And then the other thing you have to question is that you really think people would be so disillusioned? And I think that's what Scott Snyder is setting up, is the fact that he's going to make this offer and a good percentage of the population of Gotham doesn't accept it and sides with Batman. And that's going to change because the whole setup in this was Gordon is down because of the election and everything. And she says, his advisor says that, trust that there will be bad people that do bad things, but also people can surprise you and be good.
That's Bruce Wayne's mom.
Right, Martha. How do you know that name? So to me, that's obviously setting up the fact that in issue number 6, that okay, Batman was right, and people are still like, even though like he's offering this money, that's still like they're a bunch of vicious killers that have victimized a lot of. That's another thing too. The arrogant, I get that he's a villain, so I love the arrogance of Roman to just suggest that, okay, well, people are going to go along with this. Not even thinking the fact that just based on population, he's probably killed a lot of these people's loved ones. Again, just based on numbers. I don't know how big Gotham is as a fictional city.
Right. I mean,
But you're right. There is a certain level of escalation that you have to apply to the story before it gets a little out of hand. Because, yeah, at this point, with that evidence... He's a domestic terrorist. He would have been fucking murdered.
Yes.
By the end of this issue, he is shot dead by the U.S. government. He's gone. But then I remember I'm reading a Batman book, so that's fine.
Yeah.
You're right. I agree with you. It takes a lot of suspension to disbelief sometimes because there's a problem tonally where, but just like you said, while I have some issues with it tonally, I cannot deny the absolute cool shit in this book. I'm sorry, man. I'm a Batman stan. You know this.
Look. Here's why I think it's ridiculous that I'm saying
bonkers shit. I love
that
it.
This is the one I have to suspend my disbelief for. Because in case you forgot, the Absolute Superman book deals with a alien civilization which is gone now, and a true life alien visitor to our planet, and demons and hell. And like giant kaiju. So yeah, you're like, how the fuck is this one? It's because I got to be honest, Snyder. You should have written this out and said it out loud to somebody. So they should have been, so that somebody I know would have been like, dude, that's a lot. Are you sure you're
But
doing
I can't
that right?
deny how cool the book looks and like how some really cool moments happen. I mean, but I see what you mean with the suspension of the disbelief, because in this very series, he took an elevator shaft and turned it into a fucking car,
Right.
and then into a bike.
Look, they haven't done enough with this.
Oh,
and then again,
so
the fucking
much-
giant.
Much like my gripes with movie
page.
theaters.
Yes.
Here we go. Big moment, character moment. Gordon is talking, and he's like, I'm not sorry that they're lighting because of all this shit that's, because of all this crazy shit. But when you see Bruce, tell him I said so, because please, DC all in, two players.
Yeah, 2025, new characters, brand new creators.
What the fuck?
I fucking know.
And then the last line, that's really what stings, is
I
what
don't
he's
even
saying.
know- what was he talking about? I had to deal with a 2-page fucking ad. Jerks.
But like when he gets the money from Roman and he lights it on fire and it turns into the bat signal, I'm sorry, that shit's cool to me.
Look, the idea
I'm
behind
a Batman fanboy.
the idea behind most of it is great, but I gotta be honest, man. The fact that you basically made him you made him Black Mask's bitch. I mean,
Not really, because he had a Black Mask.
he does nothing.
He
He fights off a couple
Tyler,
party animals
Tyler,
and then he gets knifed
stop,
a bunch of times.
stop.
His arm broken.
Stop. He beats the fuck out of Roman. Roman only gets the upper hand because they shoot him with a net. He beats the shit out of Roman while he's beating the shit out of the other goons.
He's fighting just a bunch of party animals. He doesn't get near fucking Roman. He doesn't get near Roman.
Yeah, again, that's my point. He doesn't make him Roman's bitch. Roman only gets the upper hand because you got him with a net.
I'm saying that, I mean, he doesn't get to touch Roman at all. That's bullshit. Fuck
Sick.
that shit.
This was pretty cool.
Tired of your shit.
Well, again, I love how Snyder is flipping it on its head again and saying, like, I don't need all the tech and the computers and all that. I just need Batman. Like, that's it. I just need me.
I could use some too.
But it also plays to this Bruce being a cocky, like, this is why Roman
a
and
cocky idiot.
say what, like, there are shortcomings of this book, but what I think Scott is nailing what he's trying to do with Bruce and Roman in matching their arrogance and fighting each other and having the opposition, but both being cocky. Where like this was stupid. Batman fucked this up. He shouldn't have done this.
Dude, where he
When he shoots the spikes on that big.
Yeah,
dude,
I was just gonna say
oh.
when the dude. So from issue 1, the guy who he cut his hand off and said,
Yeah.
"Hey, the hospital's that way." He gets back at him and he jumps on the back of him and he's like, "Payback time!" And he just makes the cape go and it's really funny because they're trying to fight him and
Save
you're like,
me,
"Get me off him!" Which is pretty great. Yeah, there's some dope fucking parts. Don't get me wrong. It's just look overall, man.
Oh my god! When they try and snipe him and he pings the fucking bullets off the cape.
Overall.
No, but no, this is great because you have to have this moment of him hitting a low before the next issue. He
Does it say to be continued or concluded? Because sometimes it'll say that at the end of the book.
But I agree. The whole sequence is the problem I have with it. As badass and cool as all that was, he gets lit on fire.
yes,
We forget about that.
Right.
So he grabs Roman and plants the thing on him. The
right. Oh,
the bug.
that was worth it.
Gets his arm snapped, and then he goes, "That's what I needed. You just committed all this shit." And he's like, "That's when Roman's like, do you really think you've achieved anything?" And then you see the signal burning up from the burned money. That's his bat signal. That was cool. And then you see they break
That
off
was
the
cool.
they break off the ear.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, I think she takes the knife out of his cowl and stabs
Yeah,
him
it's
with
the
it
ear.
because he had those knives.
Yeah.
yeah,
They stab him with it a bunch of times.
a bunch of times.
And then light him on fire.
Yes.
And then hit
After
him,
they've
then
snapped his arm
hit
in
him
half.
in the chin with his hammer.
Yep.
And then he falls off this giant building, but he does a flimsy parachute that eventually breaks and he lands on a car. Then he gets shot at, and that car that he was on explodes. Keep in mind, this Batman is just a dude.
Yeah. He doesn't have.
Somehow gets up, crawls into a parking garage, then gets hit by Barbara Gordon, and then eventually hobbles his way into the sewers. It's a great moment, too, and he's like, "You can stop me. Go ahead, shoot." get me. And she doesn't. She lets him go.
Give me.
So, yeah, that is hard to accept. First of all, with the thing that Alfred finally catches up to him, Alfred should have just said, "How the fuck are you alive?" It should have been the first things that come out of his mouth.
Right.
Because none of that makes any sense.
So, again, at the end, it says to be continued. So, I mean, I can only assume that I'll say this. If 6 is another filler issue because they couldn't just get their shit together, because that's what I'm guessing. From what I understand, each one of these first books was supposed to have a 5-issue arc.
I don't know if that said that anywhere. I don't know. Just convention.
Let's just say this: we got Wonder Woman and Superman to go before we get to number 6, because we have to get number 6. And if it's another filler issue, I'm done with it.
Yeah,
I'm fucking done with it, dude. I can't get behind a book that doesn't know how to schedule its shit. Doesn't know how to get it right.
And they're going to be like, damn, we lost Tyler Allen.
Damn, we lost Tyler Allen. He was hanging on for dear life. But then we took that corner too fast, and now he's rolling on down the hill.
So, Tyler, I thought of a fun way to wrap up the show.
Oh, yeah?
So I was scrolling through the old Blue Sky, because I don't have a Twitter anymore, and I don't really use Facebook. Which, by the way, I'm in the process of making a Blue Sky for Off-Panel Off-Topic.
I got to get a Blue Sky account.
It's not that hard. You just download it.
Yeah, you know what? Just shut up and what are you talking about? God damn.
So I was scrolling through Blue Sky, and I saw this picture. And I showed Tyler this picture. It's a picture of, because in the 90s, well, you could speak to this a little bit better than I could, but in the 90s, we were
Novelty
obsessed.
phones were the fucking shit, dude.
Novelty landlines.
Here's a giant. Oh, well, first things first. Okay. Every home had a phone line. One.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you wanted the rich kids, man, in school, they were the ones that had their own private line in their bedroom, dude. That was fucking.
Whoa.
That was a fucking flex. Like, my parents paid the ridiculous amount of money to get me a second line in our home that is exclusively for me.
Ooh.
Oh,
you
yeah.
had your own extension.
I did not, but that's how you could tell if like a kid was rich or whatever. So, but the best part, and I always wanted like a.
That's like having the internet in the block, but it's a phone.
A lot of the phones when I was growing up, well, first things first, you have the novelty phones from like first phones. So
Yeah.
you got the little thing that you take off and you talk into the little horn and you put it up to your ear, right? I don't know why anybody would want those, but they were a big popular novelty phone. And then you had the plastic ones. And we're talking Snoopy, and it's always the same thing. It's the character standing upright with his own
Yeah.
phone next to his ear, and he's got an arm out, and the fucking receiver is hanging on his arm, and you hang it up by putting it on his arm. Those things never fucking stayed on the goddamn arm, first of all. The best ones were like Garfield, where like he was laying down,
Yeah.
and it was his back. You know what I mean? Like part of his back came off, and that was the
So-
phone. Or a football phone, you could just take that
Sports
off or whatever.
Illustrated football phone.
Football phone, or.
Well, my grandparents had a one that was, I think it was, oh God, was it Snoopy playing a piano? But the phone was part of the piano. But so I'm saying
Yeah,
I have
that's
experience with
fair,
it. You
yeah.
have experience with
They're-
the novelty landline.
They weren't all like the one I
So-
told you, but there are.
But the one that I saw on Blue Sky that made me laugh, it's a Wolverine receiver. So Wolverine is holding the phone on
He's
the
just,
hook.
yeah, that's the fucking weird thing. Like, he's just holding the phone.
And he's got like a Wolverine "Arr."
Arr.
And somebody commented like laughing at the fact of taking like a phone call on this with an emergency or something. And like in my head, I'm imagining could you imagine that? Of like
the president of the United States.
something horrible
Not the
happens
current one.
to someone you love. Hold on, this is very serious. I have to take it on
I
my Wolverine
was gonna
phone.
take it way far away from ourselves and say
the
that.
government.
Oh yeah, like some guy is like, you know, he's got the codes to the nuclear things, and he somehow put it the line for the nuclear thing like on the fucking Wolverine phone, and like he gets the phone call and he's like,
Oh, if this is serious, you take it on the Wolverine phone.
first of all, that thing is not supposed to ring unless it's an emergency, and I cannot help but laugh at this emergency because what the fuck did I put it on there for? All right, let me answer it.
Or even better, what if that's the phone that Professor X uses to get Logan to do missions? He has it in his house. Hey, I don't touch that phone unless Xavier calls.
Unless Charlie calls. No, because remember he calls him Charlie.
Oh yeah, unless Chuck calls.
No, every time we should do it. Every time Wolverine comes into Professor X's office,
Yes,
X,
Logan.
Professor X is just like, "Oh yes, Logan. Hang on, I have a call." And he just picks up the phone and puts it right on his desk and picks it up and just goes,
Even better, it doesn't ring.
"Yeah, no."
It just grunts.
He's just sitting there, and fucking Logan's like, "What?
No, that's what Tyler.
Victor, you have that fucking phone."
Hold on. Scott's calling me. I
No,
have to take
hang
it.
on. Scott and Gene are calling me about how much fun they're having
How much they're
without
fucking
you.
right now.
How much they're fucking you. Yes. Logan, do you want me?
But
yes.
when it rings, it doesn't ring. It just like it just grunts like Wolverine. Hey, bub, you got a call.
Hey, how come your phone never rings, Professor X? Because I'm a telepath, so I always know when the phone's about to ring.
Sorry, my phone's ringing at 3 a.m. There's some school emergency. Ah! Oh, hold on, I gotta check my phone.
I gotta check my phone, man. I'm waiting for an Uber, so okay, my Uber's here.
Well, it'd be different for a text, because a text I feel like you just be like, "Hey, bub."
No, your
fuck,
your
it's
Uber
a phone.
phone
You
is
can't-
coming into your. Yeah, what are you texting?
It's more impressive that I use
You
just.
can't text
What
on
do you-
those phones.
Well, how are you getting an Uber? You dialing the driver?
That's a fair point.
I don't even have to use the app. I just ask for someone to pick
Yeah,
me
who
up.
calls you on those? Who even gets
Half the time, Eric just plucks
who
a
even
car
gets
out
calls
of the fucking.
off of those phones anymore? You think?
Well, wouldn't you have a driver anyway?
Oh, Panel Off Topic with Jake and Tyler.